Hello, welcome to my new series of Elton John album reviews. I'm going to be reviewing all of Elton John's albums, track by track. I've been a fan of Elton John for 40 years. I've seen him in concert several times, and I've followed his entire discography during that time. I'm starting today with one of the first albums I collected, Jump Up, which was released in 1982. I'm going to grade each track out of 10 and then give you an average for the whole album. Now, I should say that even if I give a low score, I still think this is a track worth listening to. And I'm going to be keeping the very top scores, 9 and a very rare 10, for the very best of his recordings. So that's the introductions out of the way. Let's get going with the album, which you see here I have in vinyl, which I bought at the time of its release, and I have the CD version, which has got it hasn't got any bonus tracks on actually, which some of the new releases do, so it's exactly the same recording. The first track on here is Dear John. Now, Dear John is the first track on the album, with lyrics by Gary Osborne, who wrote 4 of the tracks on this album, which reached number 13 in the UK chart and number 17 in the US chart. Now, Dear John is kind of a song about somebody who finds a letter and their partner has left. This is sort of a rocky pile driver. It's quite catchy. If you turn it up loud in the car, you can probably enjoy listening to it. But it's not a memorable song. It's not something which you're going to go back to and listen to again and again, although it is the kind of song that the refrain will be memorable, and will stick in your mind, as many of them do actually on this CD. So this one, Dear John, that's going to rate 3 out of 10 for Elton on that one. 3 out of 10 for Dear John. And that takes us on to our second track on the CD, which is Spiteful Child. Now, Spiteful Child is quite a rare track. In fact, he's only ever performed this once live. But it's not that bad a song, actually. What's going on in this? It's about relationships as well. I don't want to worry you none, but I got the hurt on the run. I just cut out the poison that was in me so long. So this is again a broken relationship we're talking about here. The refrain is reasonably catchy actually, but again it's another one of those which is going to be kind of an album filler. And so for this one as well, we're going to give it 3 out of 10 for this one. 3 out of 10. And remember, that doesn't mean to say it's a bad track, it's just not as good as some of the very special ones. Okay, the third track on the album is Ball and Chain. This is one that obviously was for a time a popular one for him to perform, and he does this 36 times in his career in a live performance. There's quite a good live version on YouTube of this when he sings it on the Johnny Cash show, and I'll include a link below for that one. Ball and Chain, though, is another one that kind of fails to register when we're thinking about Elton's greatest tracks. And once again on this, we're going to give it a 3 out of 10. Now we come to the fourth track on the album, which is called Legal Boys, with lyrics by Tim Rice. This is an unusual track. It's a story track, and it's got a very good orchestral accompaniment to it as well. It's about, again, the breakup of a relationship where it's the legal people who are making all the money at the expense of everybody else. It's a strong lyric. It's a very strong melody with really interesting harmonies, especially on the refrain. Interestingly, Elton has never performed this track live, which is strange in a way, because it's such a good quality track. You can listen to this again and again, and it's still very smooth the way it moves. It's memorable. You can keep the tune in your head. So this one is going to get 8 out of 10 for this one. 8 out of 10 for Legal Boys. It's a quality track, and for me, the standout track on the album. It's followed by a song called I Am Your Robot. This is one that Elton has never performed live, and when you listen to it, you can understand why. It's a disjointed melody. It's got a very big range in it, which makes it difficult to sing. I can't find anything on YouTube of him performing it in any way. There's one person trying a cover version of it very bravely. But I'm afraid for this one, I suppose it's between a 0 and a 1. I'm going to give this one 1 out of 10, simply because it's on the album and I can remember the refrain, even though I haven't heard it for a while. So that's something, but it really has very little merit, I'm afraid. Okay, we're going to move on now to the second side of the album. And the first track there is Blue Eyes, which is one of Elton's biggest hits from the 1980s, really. It's a song he's used a lot in performances, singing it 334 times. Now this one I do have here because it was issued as a single, and here is the 7-inch single from the time. There's a very memorable video of this as well. He does. He's on a rock in the ocean somewhere with his piano, and it's being shot from the air, and it creates a very pleasing atmosphere for this particular song. It's a good lyric, obviously about love, about relationships again, a very smooth and memorable melody with harmony. So this one, I think, will merit a 7 out of 10 for that. 7 out of 10 for Blue Eyes. The seventh track on the album is this one, which I bought as a single at the time, Empty Garden. It's Elton and Bernie Taupin's tribute to John Lennon. It's an extended metaphor about the fact that somebody goes to play with their friend and their friend's not there. Their friend's called Johnny, he won't come out to play. I've seen him do this live in concert as well when I saw him in 1982. A lot of people like this song. I'm not sure it quite works. I'm not sure the extended metaphor quite works. Some people say this is a classic. I think it's okay. It starts in rather a strange way, but on a second inverted chord. And that doesn't feel quite right going into it. And the refrain is okay. And there's power and emotion in Elton's voice when he's singing this. But I still don't think it quite works and perhaps deserves the merit that it has. So I'm going to give this one a mark of 4 out of 10 for this one. I'm sorry, it just doesn't quite work for me. We're going to move on now to a song called Princess, which was issued as a 7-inch single. There it is, Princess, but it didn't manage to find a chart position, unfortunately. It's again a song about meeting somebody new. It's got a fairly memorable refrain, I suppose, but it feels a little bit like an album filler. So this one again, I'm afraid, is going to get a 4 out of 10 for that one. Track number 9 on the album is called Where Have All the Good Times Gone? This is a good track. Elton recorded it 2 different ways. The second time was slightly more upbeat than the first time. This is a track that you can imagine would work well live, and in fact he performed it 39 times in concert, and I'm surprising in a way that he hasn't gone back to it. It's about looking back to musical memories of when you were young, and the refrain is really catchy. It's got a good verse, although it starts very low, so Elton perhaps a little bit uncomfortable singing that live possibly, but I think there's some merit to this, and I would urge you to have a listen to this if you haven't heard it recently. This one's going to get 7 out of 10 for that one. 7 out of 10 for Where Have All the Good Times Gone? The last track on the album is called All Quiet on the Western Front. This again was issued as a single, quite a bit of a Christmas single in a way, and it's got some sort of sleigh bells in the back of it. This is about soldiers in the First World War. It is a very good lyric by Bernie Taupin, and it's a well-written melody. My problem with it is that the arrangement of it is rather overblown, especially the end of the track. It doesn't really suit the mood of what the song is, and this might have worked better just with Elton singing to a solo piano and nothing else. So I'd like to see this song sung again by Elton, perhaps if he ever does a tour of ones that are less well known, but just a much more pared back version of this song, because I think it has a lot of merit actually. And this one, because of the arrangement, it's going to be marked down slightly, and it's going to get a 5 out of 10. 5 out of 10 for that one. Okay. So the total for that album was 10 songs scoring 45 points. 10 songs, 45 points. And so for each album, I'm going to find out the average score for each track. And for Jump Up, it gets 4.5. Doesn't mean to say it's a bad album, and I'd still urge you to listen to it. There's some good tracks on there. The worst track, without doubt, is I'm Your Robot. The best track for me is Legal Boys, although I can see why other people might go for Empty Garden. I'll be back with more reviews of other Elton John albums. Please add your comments below in what you think is the best track on this album. I'll be really interested to hear what you say. Thanks.